is notice that we have a couple independent websites, and I really like both of these websites because they tell you about all the different instance classes that you can grab and use and how much they cost. So one of the things you'll do as you go through the planning phase is you'll do quite a lot of tinkering with the vendor provided ROI tools or TOC, total cost of ownership tools, and their costing tools. And so this is an independent one that will tell you, for example, on Amazon RDS, the R class of servers is typically going to be one of your most popular kind of server. So let's see here. I should be able to filter on this particular column. So an R5B, which is memory optimized, you can see what it provides for you at different levels, what its built-in networking is, and so forth. So this is another way to kind of verify the information that you're getting back from the total cost of ownership the calculators, as well as the ROI calculators from the vendors.
Yeah, and one of the things that I tell folks as well when they're moving in that direction is whatever those calculators tell you, budget at least an extra 20%, not only because the calculators can be a bit off, but because pricing models change from the time you decide you're going to do the migration till the time you're completed. And all of a sudden, half the security things that you thought were going to be included are going to cost extra. And the data rates are going to change a little bit. And it's better to have the extra 20% in your budget and not use it than to suddenly have to go back and explain why you're 20% over.
Right. And great information there too, Jeff. And one of the other things too that I find is that many people overestimate their skill. They're like, I can pick this up very quickly, and it turns out it's a little more difficult than they thought. And so a lot of the challenges with moving to the cloud are really about our people and our processes rather than the technology itself. So yeah, that's always wise to put a little pad into that as well. Now, when we're planning to deploy to the cloud, we have what we call the 6 R's. Now, this is your overall strategy. And a lot of these we are not going to investigate because they don't involve a migration. For example, we might choose to retain or keep the existing app exactly as it is. We might retire it and get rid of it. We might replace it either with a new version that we build ourselves or we go out and buy a new tool. Those are not part of our consideration today. The most common ways are to either A, rehost, which is also called lift and shift. That means I have a largely virtualized environment. I'm just going to take my VMs and put them in the cloud. That's very popular because it's a fast way to get your resources into the cloud, but it has a downside. And it's the last bullet point in that window, which is it doesn't actually give you the true benefits of the cloud, which are things like improved efficiency, flexibility, scalability. You have all the same problems you had before. Now you've just taken them to the cloud, but it does move your infrastructure and your databases, so forth, moves those quickly. The other approach, which is very common, is to re-platform on the managed services of the different vendors. So for AWS, that would be AWS RDS for SQL Server. For Azure would be Azure SQL Database or Azure SQL Managed Instances. And this approach is the one that really can improve your life as a data professional or an IT professional, because those enable you to focus on doing the parts of your job that add value. You don't have to spend all your time for a week applying patches. They will take care of patching for you, security hotfixes, and other things like that. So it makes your job such that you can focus on improving outcomes for the business rather than just the foundational work, of plumbing for your computer systems. The third one I will mention is to refactor. And that's where you construct your systems to take advantage of a cloud first approach. So in a refactor sort of situation, you might even go so far as to use things like microservices or serverless architecture, in which the server only spins up or spins down when it's asked to do specific work. Or you might choose to deploy your SQL Server apps to a Azure SQL for Postgres, for example. And all of those open source databases have a tenth of the cost of the traditional commercial database platform. So it can be massively cost effective to work that way.
Yeah, you make a lot of really good points, Kevin. I'd like to mention, I think that the rehosting on VMs is the one that is most likely to be repatriated, and exactly because of your last bullet point, which is, well, we're not getting the benefits out of the cloud that we expected, so let's just bring it back and worry about it later.